Somebody is going to spend $80,000 this weekend on an RV they have never slept in, not one night, not one. They'll walk a dealer lot on a Saturday, fall in love with a kitchen island, and sign papers on Sunday on a machine they never towed, never leveled, never dumped, and never woken up inside at 2 a.m. when the furnace kicks on and sounds like a regional jet. And the advice everybody gives that person is the same 4 words: rent before you buy. I think that advice is right about 60% of the time, and I think the way people give it is almost useless. So let me give you the version nobody gives you, including the part where renting will absolutely not save you from the mistake you're most likely to make. The median Class C, which is what most first-timers rent, sits around $185. But that's the advertised rate, and the advertised rate is not what you pay. Add the cleaning fee, which is commonly $200 to $300 flat. Add rental insurance, which runs around $40 a night on top. Add a booking fee. One 2026 pricing analysis found that a Class C advertised at $180 a night actually lands closer to $260 a night, all in on a week-long rental. That's 44% above the sticker. Then add the fuel. A Class A gets 6 to 10 miles per gallon. A Class C gets 10 to 17. Add campground fees, call it 30 to 60 a night with hookups. And if you go through a traditional company like Cruise America, add mileage, which is often around 35 cents a mile. 500 miles is another $175. So a realistic 7-night test drive of RV life, you're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 all in. Peer-to-peer platforms like Outdoorsy and RV Share tend to run 10 to 20% cheaper than the traditional companies, but they often have tighter mileage allowances, so read the whole thing. Now, $2,000 to $3,000 sounds like a lot until you put it next to the alternative. If renting stops you from buying the wrong $80,000 rig, and you eat 20 to 30% depreciation the moment you sign, which we covered in detail in the depreciation episode, then that rental just saved you $16,000 to $24,000. That's not an expense. That's the cheapest insurance policy in this entire hobby. Let me give you my honest take up front, and then I'll show you the work. Renting before you buy is worth it if you have never RV'd at all, or if you're choosing between 2 very different categories, like a motorhome versus a towable. In those 2 cases, absolutely rent. The money is well spent. Renting is mostly a waste of money if you already know you want a towable. You already know roughly what size, and what you're actually trying to decide is which brand and which floor plan. Because a rental will not answer that question. It cannot answer that question, and I'll show you exactly why in about 4 minutes. The problem is that rent before you buy gets said to everyone in every situation as if it's free. It is not free, so let's start there. Here's the number that surprises people. As of March 2026, the national average to rent an RV in the United States is $198 a night. That's up about 8% from last year. Class A motorhomes average around $340 a night. Your rig goes in for a warranty repair and you don't see it for 6 weeks. Renting cannot show you that. Nothing shows you that except owning one or asking owners of that specific brand, which you should absolutely do. Number 4, whether your truck can tow it. if you're looking at towables, this is enormous. You cannot meaningfully rent test your tow vehicle's payload, your hitch weight, your sway behavior in crosswinds on a mountain grade, and payload is where first-time buyers get hurt the worst because the salesman says half-ton towable and your door sticker says otherwise. Number 5, four-season reality. You rent in June. You'll own it in February. Enclosed underbelly, tank heaters, window condensation, how the furnace draws down your battery overnight. The June rental tells you nothing about any of it. 5 gaps. And notice something. 4 of those 5 are the exact things that make people regret an RV purchase. Renting is a great test of lifestyle fit and a terrible test of purchase fit. Here's the structural problem nobody mentions. You probably cannot rent the thing you're going to buy. Rental fleets skew heavily toward Class C motorhomes and mid-sized travel trailers because that's what rents. If what you actually want is a 38-foot fifth wheel with a rear living room or a toy hauler or a truck camper or an off-road capable expandable, good luck finding one in a fleet. And if you do find one on a peer-to-peer platform, it's one listing in one state from one owner with a delivery fee. And on towables, there's a second catch. You have to bring the tow vehicle. A lot of first-timers don't have one yet, so they rent the motorhome instead because that's what's available. And then they use that motorhome experience to make a decision about a fifth wheel. Those are not the same product. That's like test driving a sedan to decide on a dump truck. So when I say renting won't help you choose between brands and floor plans, that's why. The fleet doesn't have your brands. The fleet doesn't have your floor plan. You're testing the category, not the purchase. I spent 17 years as an Army contracting officer, and there's a principle from that world that maps onto this perfectly. You never award a full production contract off a brochure. Before you commit to the big buy, you do a prototype or a limited trial or a test article. But, and this is the part that matters, the trial has to test the specific thing you're uncertain about. If your risk is, will this work in cold weather? You don't run the trial in July and call it validated. That's not a test. That's a formality that makes you feel better while the actual risk sits there untouched. So before you book a rental, write down the actual question. Not, should I get an RV? The real question, can we stand each other in 300 square feet for a week? That's a rental question. Book it. Is brand X's roof going to leak at year 3? That's not a rental question. No rental will ever answer it, and spending $3,000 pretending otherwise is just expensive procrastination. Match the test to the risk. That's the whole thing. So here's how I'd actually decide. Rent if you've never RV'd. Rent if your partner is uncertain. Rent if you're deciding between a motorhome and a towable, because that's a genuine category question and a rental answers it cleanly. Rent if you're about to go full time, because a week won't tell you everything, but it'll tell you a lot. And rent if you're considering financing more than you're comfortable losing, which honestly is most people. Skip the rental if you've camped or tent traveled for years and you're confident about the lifestyle. Skip it if you already know the category and you're down to brands. Skip it if the rental you actually get is nothing like what you'd buy, because then you're paying $3,000 for data you can't use. And if you skip it, here's what I do with that $3,000 instead. Spend $300 on a pre-purchase inspection. from an independent NRVIA inspector on the specific unit you're about to buy. That is, dollar for dollar, the highest return money in this entire process. We covered it in the inspection episode. Spend a weekend at an RV show walking 20 floor plans back to back, because comparison is where floor plan clarity comes from, not from one unit in isolation. Join 2 or 3 owner groups for the brands you're considering and read 6 months of complaint posts. That's your build quality data for free. And if you can, ask an owner at a campground for a walkthrough. RV people will talk to you for an hour. That's not an exaggeration. That plan costs a few $100s and answers the questions a rental can't touch. So my honest take, rent before you buy isn't wrong. It's just incomplete, and it gets handed out like it's a full answer when it's really only a good answer to one specific kind of uncertainty. Renting tests whether you want this life. It does not test whether you want that rig. Know which question you're really asking and spend the money accordingly. If you're heading to a dealership after this, the negotiation episode is the one to watch next, and there's a link to the dealership guide below. It's the fillable worksheet version of everything in this series. Tell me in the comments, did you rent before you buy? And did it actually change your decision? Or did you buy what you were always going to buy anyway? I genuinely want to know, because I suspect the honest answer for a lot of people is the second one.